Perfect. And Miss Wendy, can you hear me? I don't think you're muted. All right, so we have some questions here that I want to get to. I just want to make sure you're on the screen. Can you say something for me, Tyson?
Sure, yeah.
Oh, perfect, good.
Got it? We all set?
So the first question actually comes from my husband, Brian, who you know very well. He's been itching to ask this question, so I'm going to put him up first.
Sure.
And he says, as network marketers, one of the things that we're all guilty of is opening conversations by like spouting off our amazing product or opportunity. Just a little note, everyone on this call is at least 5 years old in network marketing,
okay,
and most of them 10 and 20 years.
Oh, wow, great.
In the same company.
Sure. Wow, that's amazing.
We're kind of used to spouting things off. And he says you use this analogy of a metaphor of a man meeting a woman for the first time and how he relates to courting your prospect in the same way as opposed to just diving right in there. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I mean, the truth is we are all selfish at our core. We do things for selfish reasons. We, every decision we make, it's usually because we're looking out for whatever our best interests are. And any business owner, network marketer or not, we're so excited about our thing and our own self-interest of how do I get people to buy my thing? How do I make more money? How do I get them to join my business? And the truth is, and while your intentions may be good, while your intentions may be, I know that my product can help them, so let me talk all about my thing, it still comes off as a selfish endeavor on your part. Whereas if you recognize that everyone is selfish and you tap into their selfishness, their self-interest, what they're interested in, and you think, the person I'm talking to, what is it that they want? What is the thing going on in their mind? And really, once I kind of figured that out and started learning how to tap into the minds of my prospects before I thought about what I wanted, and I started thinking about what they wanted, I would ask myself questions like, what's keeping them up at night? What does their average day look like? When they wake up in the morning, what are they frustrated about throughout their day? What are the things that they're dreading? What are the things that they genuinely aspire to achieve? What are their goals? What are their problems? What are their frustrations? Once I figured out those things and I could start talking about that instead of talking about me and my thing, then making the transition to my thing became a lot easier because they were open to hear it. And what happens is when you want to talk all about your thing, a wall goes up, right? They put this wall up like, nope, you're trying to sell me something. You obviously have some sort of ulterior motive. You have an agenda, and I don't trust you. When you talk about them, that barrier comes down, and now you have an opening to talk about your thing eventually, but most people simply do it way too soon. Does that answer the question, Ray?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know I've been guilty of that. I know Brian and I in the grocery store, he'll go and talk to someone. I'm just mortified. I'm like, I don't like that, just going after someone. You don't really want to be their friend. You just want to sell them something.
Right.
And so, joining your inner circle and training from you every single month. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I've told you guys about tireless hours that Tyson invests in you to help you grow your business, whether it's network marketing or otherwise. I've never seen anybody that can deliver so much content and so much value. And so I so appreciate that because it's a different way of thinking for me. And I know a lot of people watching as just, to think about the other person instead of, how can I grow my downline or how can I get this person on my product? So
yeah, and just to clarify, because I don't want anybody to walk away from here thinking I'm anti-selling. I'm not. I am the most pro-selling person ever. There's absolutely nothing wrong with selling. Selling is, I have a solution for you. I genuinely can help you. But we have to have the right avenue to go about making that sale in order to get their ears open. And so for me, it's not, I think selling to somebody in the grocery store is fine, but what's important is qualifying that person before I sell to them. If I'm selling beef and I find out that they're a vegetarian, there's no point in me even talking to them about my product because they're not qualified to hear about it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. So in finding clients today, as I said, many of us are old school network marketers. Finding clients today, we've all decided to go online and do that. It's quite a different beast than a house party or a tent event or something. You actually have to be marketable and have people like you. And I know for a lot of us who don't really like the camera, doing lives or YouTube, the whole world of online is just so vast. Like, where do you start and how do you stay consistent with that? And yeah, so let's start with that part of it.
Sure. Well, so first of all, I think it's like anything else that you are afraid of or that you are intimidated by or that you're not good at, that you've done in your entire life, right? So it's comfort and competency come from consistently getting out of your comfort zone and just doing it. So you have to just ask yourself, now, for me, I didn't necessarily want to get good at prospecting. If I did make the choice to actively go out and talk to 5 people a day, I would have gotten better at it, period. But I made a conscious decision that that was not the way I was going to build my business. Nothing wrong with it. If that's the way you want to build your business, great. It absolutely can work for you. For me, I wanted to do it by putting out content, by attracting people to me, by letting them self-select instead of me going and chasing after them and trying to select them and jamming my thing down their throat. And for me, it's a positioning. I'm going off a little track here, but for me, it's a positioning thing. When I start the conversation with someone, I feel like I immediately have a lesser status in their mind because I'm asking them for the favor. When they self-select and they say, hey, I would love to know more about what you've got, I've immediately got a higher positioning because they requested information from me. And whenever I market on the internet the way that I do, where I don't go chasing after people and asking them of favors, I put out stuff, put it in front of my target audience, and if it's a good fit for them, they self-select and say, I'd like more information. And they have now self-qualified. So whenever I first started putting that kind of information out there on the internet in the form of videos, for me, I started on YouTube. I started by doing videos, and it was very uncomfortable. I was so nervous. I put up a script the first time, and the script was underneath the camera. It was taped to the bottom of the camera, and I kept looking into the camera, into the lens of the camera, and then I'd glance down to look at my words and glance back up, and people were like commenting on my YouTube videos, dude, like you're obviously reading, you look so unnatural. And for most people, that would stop them. They'd go, oh, I'm no good at this. I'll never try this again. I didn't like the way that made me feel. And I know from every other area I've ever created success in my life that it was a matter of consistently doing it, and eventually it became natural. And the best example I could give, I think I talked about this on one of our last Inner Circle calls, was I'm teaching my son how to play drums right now. And I've been a musician almost my entire life. Started playing piano very young, and there's a level of muscle memory that comes with that. And the first time he sat down to play drums, he could not make this limb and his foot all work together. So we isolated one thing. We said, just work on just your right foot, right? And there's a very powerful analogy there to, in my business, okay, I'm not good at building websites and, I'm gonna mute my phone here. I'm not good at building websites and making videos and running Facebook ads and everything else. So I'm not gonna focus on all of it right now. I'm gonna focus on one thing that's really important and get that down. And when I get it, I'll move on to my right hand. And then I'll move on to playing the snare drum metaphorically, right? And now my son, he's been playing for about a year, and he'll sit down at the drums and he can make all of his limbs work. The muscle memory is now there. What used to be uncomfortable and difficult for him and it was something he had to think about, is now something that he's not only good at, it comes naturally, he enjoys it. The same thing was true for me when it came to video. I hated it at first. I was uncomfortable. And the more I did it and I got out that comfort zone, today, I can just talk to you. I can get on a video and talk on a video like I'm talking to you right now.
Right.
And it feels very natural. And that simply comes with time. The problem is most people are not willing to put in the time to get to a place of proficiency, competency, and comfort.
Right. That is so true. And one thing, and Tyson did not ask me to plug this, but you got to get one of his courses, because you'll have access to his inner circle. And this is like not even a dot on the giant's nail of the value that Tyson has brought to my husband and I over the last 18 months. So get his program, get in his inner circle, because one of the ways that we've been able to stay consistent is because we're in his inner circle. We don't want to just show up every month just to be friends with Tyson. I mean, we want some value so we can take it and apply it. So I think being a part of a group like that is super valuable to stay on that track when you feel discouraged that you don't want to get on camera. I didn't want to get on camera today, but this is a little safer. So that's perfect. I love isolate the one thing that you want to do and then move on to the next.
Let me clarify one other thing, because
yeah.
Some people can get confused about what is the one thing I should focus on. Because it can be, man, there's so many things that I need to do to succeed in a business. And so my answer to that is figure out the thing that's going to move the needle the most and focus on that first. Because, like, back to my drum analogy, when you're playing drums, most people aren't paying as much attention to the hi-hat as they are the beat of the bass, right? I mean, if you're dancing, you're feeling the beat of the bass. And so with my son, we worked on getting the bass and his snare hand first, because that moved the needle the most to feeling the rhythm that he was playing. When you're a marketer, the thing that I have found that moves the needle the most is figuring out who you want to target. Who is my perfect audience? Who can I help the most? Figuring out what's going on inside of their mind, and then focusing on what kind of messages I can craft that would appeal to that conversation that's already happening in their mind. The problem is most people get distracted by the 90% of other things that really don't move the needle that much. Honestly, guys, building a website doesn't move the needle that much. Getting fancy video equipment doesn't move the needle hardly at all. I can get out my cell phone, and if I've got the right message and I put it in front of the right audience and I understand what's going on in their mind, I understand that psychology, it doesn't matter if I use my cell phone with some not so great lighting and the audio is subpar versus using the best camera equipment in the world with a crappy message in front of the wrong people. It's not going to move the needle. And people will either focus on that other stuff because it's a distraction. It's, it's like, oh, I'll focus over here. And they feel like they're doing busy work. And that's why thank you again for plugging my programs. I didn't expect that you were going to do that. That was very nice. But one of the things that I teach, especially in my entry-level program, is if you don't want to build websites and capture pages and all that fancy stuff, we show you how to get leads inside of Facebook Messenger with just your Facebook account. And, you can always build websites and capture pages and that kind of thing down the road once you focus in on the main thing that really matters, which is who's my audience, what's going on in their mind, and how do I craft good messages that would attract them to me and let them know that I'm genuinely interested in what's going on in their life and genuinely interested in helping them.
That's absolutely. Gosh, this is so good. And I do want to plug your programs because they're amazing. They changed my business. After being in network marketing for 18 years, I was trying to figure out what family member have I not called, that I could, get going again. And so you've been absolutely an amazing teacher. A lot of these people who are on the call today are just getting started with ManyChat and bots, and
sure,
kind enough to give them my ManyChat funnel and all the things that you interviewed me for. And one of the questions that I hear, but they don't say it, I can hear it when they're like, well, I just spent, some money on ads and, when's it going to happen? What's your answer to the question, how long before I make my money back in what I'm investing?
So my answer to that is similar to what a personal trainer would say if somebody came into the gym and said, I want to compete in shows, how soon will I be on stage with six-pack abs and ripped and looking awesome? And if you come in and you're fat and pudgy and you're 100 pounds overweight, his answer is going to be different than if you are already in really good shape and you have, 15 pounds of a little bit of fat around your, your love handles to lose. Very different answer. So the answer is different for every person depending on, if I go into the gym and I'm not willing to put in the work, I make excuses, I work out in the gym, I don't do everything I'm supposed to do, I kind of do it halfway. I go into the gym and I work out, but then I go home and I eat Snickers and pizza. It's not going to happen, right? And so I think it comes down, I tell people, first of all, set the right expectations. What are you willing to do to achieve success? And be honest with yourself, right? That's the first thing you really have to do. And then second of all, I set my expectations that, again, this goes back to anything you try for the first time, you're probably not going to be great at it. All of you look like you're certainly old enough to have children. If you do have children, or if not, maybe nieces and nephews, you probably have kids that you taught them how to ride a bike at some point. I would bet money, I'd bet my right arm that none of your kids hopped on a bike and rode off into the sunset the first time they got on, right? I bet your toddlers didn't stand up and just go zooming off, right? They kind of stumbled around and fell over. Your kids fell off of the bike. And you didn't say, wow, you really suck at riding a bike. I guess you should never try again. And yet that's what we do to ourselves when we run like an ad that doesn't work the first time. I recognize, hey, this is a new campaign that I've never run before. It's probably not going to be perfect. It's probably going to have some problems. In fact, it might completely flop. Just like first time my son got on a bike, I said, listen, you're probably not going to be able to ride, but I'm going to hold on to the bike and I'm going to be here to help you. And guess what? If you fall over, you're going to now have a better idea the next time you get on of what to do to get better so that you don't fall over. And eventually, if you do it over and over, you'll get it. And most people are not willing to go through that trial and error, falling over, to create success. And the truth is, if you run an ad and it doesn't produce the results you want, congratulations, you are par for the course. That's normal, right? I very rarely launch ads that are perfect the first time. I test different messages, different audiences, and some of them work, some of them don't. But every time it doesn't, I learn something. I learn, all right, let's try something new. And so those would really be my two biggest tips. Know where you're coming from. Be honest with yourself about what you're willing to do to create success, and then set the right expectations so that you're not setting yourself up for disappointment. One of the things I see, especially in the network marketing crowd, and it's not just because they're network marketers, there's nothing inherently wrong. A lot of it has to do with the way that they're recruited. They're brought into network marketing with this hypey, you can make $1 million without doing any work, and recruit 3 people, we'll do all the work for you. And no wonder they get depressed and they lose their excitement to keep going when that hypey message doesn't come through. And so I see so many network marketers that promise the moon simply to get somebody to join their team. I would rather give them an honest message about what work is going to be required, set the right expectations, disqualify the people who shouldn't be on my team wasting my time, and then make sure that the people who I do get are really highly qualified, they've got the right work ethic, and I'm only investing my time with helping the people who genuinely are going to put in the work.
Right. Wow, that's so good. Now, something you guys may not know is Tyson was in network marketing before, so he knows this, personally. Tyson, if you were in network marketing today, who would you be looking for?
Oh man, that is a great question. Honestly, I would probably be looking for people who are hungry. People who are willing to put in the work and they're hungry, because I don't care what your goals are. People who are hungry and who have a vision of what they want, because I don't know if Ray has told you, I won't get too far into this, but last year, almost a year ago at this time, I weighed 100 pounds more than what I weigh today. And I losing 100 pounds would not have been possible if I didn't want it for myself, if I wasn't hungry. I could have somebody come at me all day long saying, man, you really need to lose weight. You're going to die early. You're not going to be around to see your kids. But until I want it, until I'm hungry for those results, and until I have the vision of how my life will be different once I lose that 100 pounds, I'm never going to put in the work. So for me, I would be looking for people who are hungry for some outcome, whether it's if you have a health product and you want to help them change their life in terms of health with your product, I'd be looking for people who are hungry and want those results, which again, I put out messages that allow those people to self-select. I'm looking for people who are looking for me. And if I were trying to get people into my business opportunity, I wouldn't just be looking for anybody and everybody. Boy, Joe really needs to make some extra money. Well, yeah, if Joe doesn't want to make extra money and Joe's going to make excuses, I don't want him on my team. I want somebody who's hungry, who's, I'll tell you a true story. When I had sworn off network. The last time I got into network marketing was 2016, I think, 15, maybe it's 15, I think it was 20. No, it was before that. It was 2013. 2013. And I had been in several network marketing companies prior to 2013. And I had sworn off network marketing. I will never do it again. This isn't for me. And I was building a brick and mortar photography studio that I run here locally. Quite successful. That was what allowed me to first quit my job as a public school music teacher. And about 3 years after quitting my job and running my photography studio full time, all of my the way that I had built my business previously, my photography business, was all based on referrals and the relationships I had built inside of my network with my public school teaching job, other colleagues, their families of students that I taught, and so forth. That was how I built that business. And by the way, just a little hint here before I go to my main tip, I didn't build that business by going to anyone and everyone and saying, hey, you should really come to my photography studio. And by the way, if you like it, you should start a photography studio too. We can all make money, right? I just went to people and I said, hey, listen, I'm starting a new business. It's a photography business. I'm looking for some people to try out my services, give me some feedback. And so if you would like to come in, I gave them an offer they couldn't refuse. I said, I will shoot your pictures for free. You don't pay anything unless you love your photos. If you love them, great, I'd love for you to buy some. And we've got some very cheap prices since we're just getting started. And if you don't love them, that's okay. You haven't risked anything. And so this is kind of a message I give to new business owners. If you're just trying to get traction, think, what kind of compelling offer can I make people to just get them to dip their toe in the water, to get them to try me out? I wasn't trying to get people to come to me and book $5,000 weddings when I first got started, because that wouldn't have worked, right? And so I built my way up to that place. Anyway, back to my main story. I was doing very well for about 3 years, multiple six figures a year in that business. It was just me and my wife. And all of a sudden, my network of how I built that business, referrals, I hadn't been teaching for 3 years and things were starting to dry up. And I was like, I was hungry for the fear of, am I going to have trouble providing for my family? Was it a mistake to quit my job? Mm-hmm. Just so happened around that time in 2013, I was presented with a network marketing opportunity. The guy who said I will never do it again, because I was hungry, because they found me in a time of need, because it addressed a pressing problem that I had, I was open and I joined, right? And so that's that. I tell that story to say, go for people who are hungry, who have a problem, that they know they have the problem and they know they want to solve it, and who either have a vision or who are open to helping them create the vision of how their life can be different, and are willing to put in the work to achieve it. That would be my perfect prospect.
I love that. And I love that you didn't say, 20-year-olds, because our company seems to be getting very young in the health and wellness space. The younger the distributors are. And we're not 20. So
right.
Last question is kind of two-part question. I know that Mark Zuckerberg is loving groups. I'm so grateful that I started a group last year with you. We have almost 1,000 people in that group now.
That's awesome.
And constantly building it. So I'm really excited about that. How could someone best monetize a group? Like if your group is free, can you monetize that? Or if not, how do you start a group and monetize that group?
Sure, absolutely. So to me, I believe that monetization all comes down to engagement and offers. If you, again, think about the offer that I made to people when I was starting my photography business. I thought, what offer can I make people that they just aren't going to be able to refuse, right? Now, did everybody take me up on my, my free photo session? No, not everybody, but enough that I was able to start building a business. So if I can engage with enough people and I can make them offers that they can't, so I'll add one more thing to the mix: engagement, offers, and trust, right? If I can do those three things, I can utilize groups to make more sales, right? And so the way that I would do it, and I just did a training, and I don't know if you guys were on that live call. I'm sure you were, because you're on like all of them. But we did a live call just last week where a lady, she implemented one of the Facebook advertising formulas that I gave her for a essential oils product that she was selling in a network marketing company to help people with insomnia. So she was looking for people that, hey, you have a problem, you're having trouble sleeping, I have a product that can help you solve that problem. She was letting them self-select. She generated 600 leads in about 60 days with her ad, but none of them bought anything. None of them were buying. And I walked her through the 4 things that were the reason why her leads were not buying from her. And those 4 I have yet to find an example where if your leads say no, I can almost guarantee you it's one of these 4 things. It's either desire, they don't want it badly enough. It's belief, they don't believe it'll work, they don't believe you, they don't believe in themselves that they'll actually do the work, whatever. It's desire, belief, vision. They don't have a vision of how this would work for them, for their specific situation. They can't see themselves doing it. Or the offer is bad. You just haven't made them a compelling offer. If you put those 4 things in place, when you make an offer, when you engage with your audience in a Facebook group, you get people into a group and you just engage with them. Hey, what is it that you're most in? And so one of the things I told her, she said, all right, how would I do this in a Facebook group? I said, well, what I would do is I'd get those people who are on your list in a group and just once a week even invite them to just a quick Facebook Live hangout in your group and say, hey, real quick, I had a question come in today. People were asking me, what can you do when you're laying in bed at night having trouble falling asleep? I'm going to give you 3 things that have worked really well for me. Show up. This is going to be a quick 10-minute video, right? And so she brings people over to her Facebook page. She engages with them. And by doing that, she builds trust because she's providing them with valuable information, getting them to know her, right? You all have never met me before in your entire life, most of you, I'm sure. And hopefully by the end of this, you've gone, all right, this guy seems to know what he's talking about. I think I trust that, he's genuinely good at what he does, right? And I can try and convince you of that by telling you how good I am, or I can just prove it to you by genuinely helping you. And so I would encourage you to prove to your prospects that they should trust you and that you can help them by just genuinely helping them. And so if you bring them into a group and you just give them some free training, and then at the end of that, I always give a call to action in my own content because attention is one of the hardest things for you to get from people. So I don't want to squander that opportunity. I may not have it again. So while I have their attention, I'll say, hey, listen, if you guys enjoyed this, I've got a really great offer for you today. For the first 10 people on this live who grab a trial pack of my XYZ product and try it out to see if it helps you sleep better or whatever your problem is that you're trying to solve, I'm going to give you this bonus, this bonus, this bonus, whatever those bonuses are. And this, number one, it gives them urgency because if you're in a network marketing company, you don't control the quantity of, you can't say, well, we only have 5 products to give away today, because that's not true. You can't say, hey, you can't buy this after Friday, because that's not true either. But if you have your own bonuses, your own things that you're giving to people, you now control something in the offer process where you can say, listen, if you guys buy this product before XYZ date, I'm going to give you this bonus, and this bonus from me. Not only does it create urgency, it gives your followers a reason to buy from you over every other distributor in the company. And that's what I told my student, because I said, how many of you, I asked her, I said, my wife is not involved in network marketing, and she knows what essential oils are. She knows people in her Facebook newsfeed selling essential oils. What reason are you giving them? All you might have done is just turned them on to the idea that essential oils might help them sleep better, and then they go to their friend Susie and they buy essential oils from her instead of you. What if you have the same product that thousands of other distributors in your same company are selling? You have to think, what can I give people as a bonus, not only to make them want to buy right away, but to make them want to buy from me specifically over everyone else in the company. And so those would be my tips to you. Engage with your audience, create trust, provide genuinely helpful information. And when you're engaging with them, focus on how can I build their desire? Hint, do that by agitating their current problem. How can I create belief that they can do this, belief that they can get started, belief that it'll work for them? Testimonials are one way to do that. Show examples. Like, the fact that Ray has said what her results are with my programs might have created more belief in you that what I teach actually works, right? That's one way to create belief. Vision, how can you create a vision that they can see themselves doing it? They can see the end result of where they're going to be, what the promised land, so to speak, is going to look like. And then how can you make them a compelling offer that they can't refuse, that is the right offer at the right time for your relationship with that person. If I just met them and they're on their first Facebook Live and I've only been talking to them for 5 minutes and I say, hey, now go give me $3,000, probably not the right offer, right? So you got to make sure that you're also asking yourself, what's the right type of offer based on where we are in this relationship?
Excellent. And so monetizing an existing Facebook group is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Just engage with them more. I'll give you a quick example. I'm not doing this with a Facebook group, but the concept is the same. I have 58,000 people on my messenger my messenger list, and I haven't really sent out a message in a while to them because I've been so focused on helping my existing customers that I haven't really been communicating a lot with these people. And it's kind of an old, dead, I shouldn't say dead, it's just an old kind of, lukewarm list, right? And maybe even a little cold. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm holding a live webinar next Monday that I'm going to be promoting to my list. And I want to get these people on my webinar. So my offer to them was not, let me sell you something. My offer, because if I just sent them a message saying, hey, I would like for you to go buy this $500 home study product that I'm selling in Messenger, a bunch of them would have marked it as spam. They would have said, no, I'm not interested. So instead, I said, what I did first, I didn't even ask them to go to my webinar. I started by yesterday just sending them a free piece of content to warm them up. I said, hey, everybody, I've got a video on my YouTube channel that shows you 5 ways that you can dominate social media in marketing your business. Are you interested in checking out that video? If yes, click yes below and I'll send it to you. If not, I don't want to bug you, click no. And so I gave them an option. I didn't even send them a link. I wasn't pushing my link on them. I let them self-select. And then I've already warmed those people up. So now on Monday, when I send a message saying, hey, I'm holding a webinar tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Eastern, are you interested in attending next Tuesday, May 14th? When I ask them that question and they say, yes, I am, now they're going to remember who I am.
Right.
They're warmed up because I gave them something free. And the offer for spending 90 minutes with me on a webinar is not going to seem like too big of a request because I just warmed them up with some free content ahead of time.
Mm.
And these were people who I really have failed. I kind of dropped the ball in communicating with them over the past couple of months, where I've let them get cold. But with one message, one really good piece of content, I warmed a whole lot of those people back up. And I know that it will help get my attendance up on my webinar. And then when I sell my product at the end of that webinar, I know it is going to create a lot more sales on that as well. So
that's wonderful. So May 14th, you have a webinar coming up.
I do.
All of them to watch this.
I do. So if you want to attend that webinar, I don't have a direct link to it right now. What I would recommend that you do is you can get on my list by just going to successwithtyson.com if you're not on my list already. And then, so just so you know, it's to avoid any confusion, I have an automated webinar. If you go to successwithtyson.com and you click the button, it's going to ask you to register for a webinar. That's an automated presentation that just runs every day, 3 times a day, so that I'm not constantly teaching the same information over and over and destroying my, the freedom in my life. And people can watch it on their schedule. You're welcome to attend that. And honestly, a lot of what I teach in the live webinar will be, there will be crossover there. I'm doing kind of an updated version of that automated webinar. So if you want to attend the automated webinar and then attend the live, that's fine. Or you could just register for the automated webinar, not attend it. Just warning, you're going to get messages that say, hey, why didn't you attend the webinar? You just, delete those if you're purposely not attending. And then if you're on my list, you should get an email on, actually, I'm trying to think here. You know what? That may not be a good idea either. Let me just do this. Don't do any of that. If you're interested in attending, let me just give you a link right now, because yesterday I set up a mini chat sequence for this. So I'll tell you what, I will just give you guys, if I put something in the chat here, will everybody be able to see it, Ray?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, let's see if this works. And you guys can just copy this link down. It's not a very pretty link, but this should work.
Brian, can you grab that link out of the chat?
Okay, I just have to create a new growth tool real quick and set it up with a ref URL. This will take me just a second, and I'll attach it to the webinar registration sequence.
Excellent. And while Tyson is doing that, definitely get on this webinar. Go on it live so that you can, interact with him or hear him live and not a recording, although the recording is great because I watched that one too. And again, this isn't a huge plug, everyone jump on Tyson, but you who know me that are on this phone, you know that I only follow people that are credible. If they're not credible, I immediately let go of them and send them, let them go their way. And for us to be still following, and I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys, Brian and I haven't even really scratched the surface of what Tyson provides for us in his back office. He mentioned on his last call, and Brian and I kind of gave each other this look. He says, if you're not taking advantage of everything that he's provided for you in that back office, you're really off track. And we had to look at ourselves and go, we're off track. He's got all this, value, all this training. Every question I ever ask is typically in his legacy training. And I just need to go back and watch it. So our pledge, Tyson, is to go back through it and do it again and pick something else up and go with that. We're off the snare or off the bass. Is that the bass drum on the bottom? Onto
yeah, right.
I dated a drummer, but I don't remember any parts of the drum. The bass, I think, is the big round one, the cymbal, the snare. We're going to move on to something else. So get this link, watch the live webinar on May 14th. I promise you, he still doesn't charge enough.
You're very kind.
And I will pay for things that are valuable. And there's so much value from him and his training, past and present. So you guys have a lot to learn. A lot of you guys are looking to me for mini chat, and he's who I learned it all from. And I need to go back and study more, as he's like building a bot right now as we're talking. I'm trying to figure out why my bot is a double opt-in right now. So
well, don't build me up too much. Let's actually see if this works. So Ray, I'll tell you what, Ray, would you test this first and then let everybody know if it works? So that should be the link. I'm going to watch you come through on my phone to check in real time if this actually works the way it's supposed to. And if it does,
yeah.
So you'll have to go through a registration sequence, which will actually put you on my email list as well. So,
yep.
There it is. I see. Awesome, Ray. Yeah. So the registration for the webinar all happens directly through Messenger. So it will automatically register you. And I would strongly recommend after you do successfully get registered, go over to, there's a link to the thank you page. Go over to that because it'll set a cookie on your browser, which will help to avoid technical problems when you do actually attend the webinar if the system has recognized you from the registration. So anyway, the link is in the chat. Can everybody see that? Those of you who want to attend, can everybody see that link? It starts with m.me/Tyson Zahner page.
Yep.
So we've got some people saying no, they cannot see it. Other people are saying they can see it.
Okay. I just put it in a group chat with all of us, so they'll all get it right now.
Okay, cool.
Excellent.
Okay, cool. So if you have any trouble getting registered, I'm sure Ray can send you that link privately and just walk through.
And I just sent it to all of them.
Yep, and that's for the live webinar. That's not for the automated one. Even though the messaging to get you signed up is an automated bot message that I created, but the actual webinar, I will be there live and answering questions and interacting with people throughout the
webinar. Excellent. It's funny, one of our attendees this morning, Annette, she's like, oh my gosh, I just registered for this yesterday.
Oh, nice.
So good. So, and one last thing before I sign off here with you, Tyson. I'm so grateful for this. I want all of them to know, because they know you have taught me to be the queen of marketing, and everything I do has some affiliate link to it. It's like, don't sign up for that unless you go through this link. Yeah. There's no affiliate link for this, you guys. There's no, like, Tyson's not paying Brian and I to do this. We genuinely got so much value from him that we had to share it with some of our friends in our network marketing company that are really struggling right now. And they can't figure out which direction to go in this online thing with funnels or, web pages. It's not our world. And in order to not become extinct like dinosaurs, we needed to do something different. And Tyson was really the answer to that for us. And we've just begun. So follow him, seriously.
Well, thank you for the plugs, Ray. I really do genuinely appreciate it. And I am curious, Karen said, I guess she tried the link and it said it could not be processed. Do you mind if I ask her, if I get a little more details on what, because I do want to make sure this bot works before I launch it live to everybody. Karen, can you tell me maybe what happened? I am curious. I want to see if this was just an issue where maybe you typed in the wrong email address or something, or where did you receive that message?
Here in the chat, I just clicked on the link and then it went to a page and it said, this cannot be processed.
So maybe what you might want to try doing is copying and pasting the link into the regular browser that you use. Clicking it from Zoom might cause some problems, but I would think if you copy it and paste it into, if you use Chrome, paste it into your Chrome browser, and that should automatically bring you into a thing that says, do you want to sign up for Tyson's Messenger list? And then it'll launch the registration sequence. So let me know here in a minute if that works for you by just pasting it in a new tab in a browser separately.
Okay, trying it now.
Okay, cool.
And it sent me to, Messenger. Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And then you'll just have to say, basically confirm that you want to join the list. And then it should launch a sequence saying, Did you want to sign up for this webinar? Yes, you click yes, sign me up, and it will it'll launch you into a registration sequence where you give us your email address and you pick your date and time, and then you'll automatically be registered.
Perfect. Yeah, I got it.
Okay. And by the way, that, just so you know, like the bot, I didn't just set up that entire sequence. I set up just one welcome message and I connected it to a sequence that was already set up. The sequence that you're going through, if you're going to register, is a bit more advanced. And I just want you guys to understand that falls into the 90% of stuff that doesn't move the needle as much. Guys, I could just as easily have invited you to a Facebook Live, right? I could have gone to something like BeLive.tv, gotten the link, gave it out to my followers, and not set up this whole complicated registration sequence. And as long as I gave the right message on that live. So if you're a real techie person and you want to learn how to set up complicated things like what I just put you guys went through in the registration process, I have bonuses for people who buy my courses on setting up, more complicated things like that. But just understand it's not necessary, and it's not the thing that will move the needle for you.
It's just super cool.
It is super cool. And once you've got the main stuff figured out, it's fun I like focusing on that stuff because I enjoy it. But some people don't enjoy it. And for those people, you never have to learn it, or you could hire it out to somebody when you get to a point in your business where you want to do that too.
Right. Well, I thank you so much, Tyson. I'm looking forward to our call this week, right? We have a call this week? No, next week.
We have a call next
week.
Week from tomorrow. Yeah, Inner Circle call a week from tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll be seeing you on the webinar first. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And you've poured into us so much. I hope in some small way we're able to give back to you.
Well, absolutely. And I hope that you guys learned something, got some value, and I wish all of you the best in your businesses. Thanks again, Ray and Brian, for being customers and for the referrals. And thank you for the invite. And thank you, everybody else, for your time today.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great day.
See ya. Bye.